Hey guys, this is Nocturnal Overclocking here with another video. I'll let my camera, there we go. Basically all this video is it's going to be focusing on why I'm using what I'm using, a little bit about my test bench, how it's set up right now, or I guess it would be a rig because it isn't a case, and how I'm using it right now, what it was kind of built for, because I do quite a bit of gaming on it. And it's adequate for it. It's not overkill. This isn't my main rig. This is just the one that I use the most. So I'll turn my camera here and let it focus up, and then I'll explain some of the things about it here. One second here. Okay guys, so what I'm using in this rig right now is the motherboard is a Dell XPS 8500 motherboard, and the reason I chose that was I had a processor laying around, the 3930K that's been mentioned in my two other videos. So that chip has been put into this motherboard. I know it's a fairly small motherboard, but when you consider the size of the case that comes with the Dell XPS 8500, it fits in there like a glove. But that will be getting replaced shortly, probably with a Z77 Sabertooth board or something like that. I haven't really made up my mind yet, but that is next on my to-do list. Now, what I'm using for a video card is an Asus 680. Now, the reason I chose that, 2 gigabytes of dedicated memory RAM, or dedicated memory DDR5. It runs everything flawlessly. Obviously, it's not the highest end. The highest end would be the 690 of the NVIDIA class right now, but it's more than capable of playing everything on the market on max settings with ease. The drivers are just starting to get there, where every single game supports it properly. No glitching. World of Warcraft, if any of you guys play it, it was bad for probably the first 6 weeks that the card was out. Or at least it was in my experience. Now, sorry if you guys can hear the fans. I really don't care about how noisy it is. I'm more or less about the performance of it. Now, cooling the 3930K processor is obviously the Corsair H80, which is this here. Got the 120mm radiator there. Got the pump. So that's that. There's not really much to talk about with that. I haven't upgraded the piping or anything like that, because being as I do swap parts in and out of this fairly consistently, I really didn't want to do a custom loop where I'd have to worry about something leaking or breaking. It was just, this was very simple to swap parts in and out, move around. It's very easy to fit in a smaller case if I do decide to do a case review, like some of the more micro ATX boards, casing and that, like the Lion Lee cases. It fits in most of them fairly easily without any worries. Maybe not in a push-pull configuration, but you can always get it in there. For RAM, I'm using DDR3 Corsair Vengeance RAM, the 32 gigabyte kit. Now, the reason that I chose the 32 gigabyte kit is that the local store was going out of business, and I picked it up for 85 bucks. So I figured for future-proofing the rig, 32 gigabytes is more than enough for a single CPU board. So that's why I picked those up. Maybe when I upgrade to the Sabertooth board, try to find the Platinum Corsair RAM. Those look nice. I really like the coolers on that, but we'll see if I can make that happen or not. Just didn't like the way that was pointed. This obviously is an Antec spot cooler, for those of you who don't know. The Vengeance RAM is fairly difficult to find a RAM cooler for it because of the huge heat sinks on it that I really don't feel are necessary. But obviously RAM cooler doesn't, not all of them fit it. So rather than messing around with resurging and stuff like that, being as I haven't overclocked them, the spot cooler is adequate. All that it does is just kind of blow on it. Once in a while I take apart the computer and obviously blow the dust out of it like most people do. So that's that. Now, what I am using in the bottom is a Western Digital 1 terabyte hard drive. The reason that I went with 1 terabyte was really For testing things, I needed a lot of space, or at the time I thought I did when I was just getting started on my last channel. I don't really need an SSD because obviously for testing you're not really doing a whole lot of load screens and stuff like that. It's more or less just benchmarks. So a hard disk drive is more than adequate for that. But when I do play my games like Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, stuff like that, which I haven't been playing much of that, but when I do put in my solid state drive just to get a little faster load screens out of it and just kind of finish off the rig the way that it deserves. So yeah, now using a Retail Plus power supply right now. The reason that I'm using a Retail Plus is I had a couple questions on my previous channel about what do you prefer for power supplies. Basically, the way that I do it is a lot of people figure whether or not they need the wattage that needs, so that way they can advantage of the bronze, silver, gold, platinum system that power supplies have used. However, if you've seen any of Tasty PC's videos, she kind of touched on a good topic that yes, you might be getting the proper consumption to really get the energy efficiency out of it looking for. However, you got to take into account noise, because obviously if you're running at 75%, like a 750 watt power supply, it's going to be louder than a 1200 supplying the exact same amount of power, just because it has to work harder. So obviously if you keep your rig somewhat quiet, that is a better way to do it, in my own opinion. I like the fact that she touched on that because it was a good point. This is a 750 watt model that I picked up Staples Business Depot. I do not recommend it at all. All the rails are solid except for the 12 volt. The 12 volt rail really has an issue where it spikes a lot. I'm not sure if it's the video card that's stressed out. It should be more than enough for my setup here, by about 100. However, for some reason it spikes down to like 11.15 volts and then up to like 13. And if you try to run it up max, usually if it's rated for 750 watts, you can usually get about 800 out of them reliably without them kind of messing up. If you even get one up to 750, heat becomes such an issue on it, even though the variable fan that is based load and not heat, it still messes up. It'll actually shut itself down. It's just a garbage power supply, but I'll be covering that in another video. So look forward to that if you want to find out how much a joke they are. But otherwise, it means basically the system. It's like I said, NZXT Phantom. It's the original model, not the newest one. All that I got in there is a CD drive, just because I'm just benchmarking with it. I do have a 20mm fan here that is filtered, and then obviously, like I said, it blows air in and across, and it's got good cooling for it. But hopefully that asks or answers some of your guys' questions. You want to know what mod I'm using? It's 2